You mentioned a little brother. How old is he?
He is 15.
Okay, and what's your guys' relationship like?
I'm pretty much his mom, I guess you could almost say. I've always protected him. I've always kind of been there for him. I just kind of put up with him more than my mom can. She'll call me and put him on the phone. He'll be like, you gotta come home, you gotta come home. And I'm like, why, what's up, dog? He's like, we get fast food every night. He needs a routine. So like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he gets the same meals and I cook them. Or like every Tuesday and Thursday, I put a surprise meal in there.
Youth exists within family systems. There is an interaction between the parents' needs and the parents' mental health and what the youth is experiencing, and vice versa.
Being away from my family and my friends, I really didn't like being in GDC because I didn't get to see my family all the time. We had visitation rights, but I didn't think that was enough time to spend time with them.
I was petrified for him. He's a young kid. He's on the spectrum. There's medications to be had. There's therapies to be done. Didn't know what kind of charges were going to be brought against him, what the prosecutor was going to do.
It was kind of lonely in the cell.
Yeah.
And during the weekends, nobody would be working. And so you would sit in your cell for probably 12 hours or so.
I was left in the dark from, let's say 2:30 in the afternoon till about 9 o'clock in the evening, not knowing very much about the judicial system. I didn't know anything and nobody reached out to me. So I felt very left out, confused and beside myself and not knowing what to do next.
There are so many court dates and hearings get delayed for a lot of different legal reasons, and parents or caregivers are expected to be at each of those hearings or appointments. And I think that is a really big financial stressor for families who may be paid hourly, who maybe not have vacation time.
And I found out that we were allowed to go visit him, but we had to make an appointment. Friday, I was supposed to see him. And once we drove all the way out there, a half hour away, we were told that they were understaffed and that he could not be brought out to see us. We were devastated.
It's compounded by just physical logistics. There's often detention facilities that are in remote locations because neighborhoods don't want them nearby. And so that often creates transportation difficulties.
It's not far, but yet it is. So to get there is 20 some plus minutes. Gas is expensive. It's the little things that you don't think about until you are doing it every other day.
Phone numbers are not widely publicized, so sometimes they can be difficult to get a hold of somebody and get information from a facility.
He was allowed to call us one time a day, and that was if they had enough staff for them to be able to take children individually to call parents.
And all of those are creating barriers and fear for families who aren't able to reach their child and know what's happening.
I wish people would not automatically think that the parent did something. It's not the parent's fault. You don't know the backstory.
Caregivers are so important in their child's life, and it's really easy to blame them, and it's a lot harder to support them.
My friends, they don't know the extent of how much Zachary has been in and out. They have no idea. I don't want him to be classified as a bad kid, so that's why you keep it to yourself.
Our caregivers are just coming in with so much on their own plate. We sometimes forget about that because sometimes they're coming in seeming to staff like they're angry and defensive. And meanwhile, what seems to be angry and defensive is really scared and anxious.
When I get a phone call and I don't know the number, all of a sudden you freeze. You get that sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach.
And so excluding them from the conversation or starting from a place of blame does not help engage them in the conversation and meet them where they're at, so we could help support the whole family unit, which is where the youth is living.
I stopped taking care of myself. Everything has always been focused on my son. So I didn't go to the gym. I didn't clean up the house like I wanted to. I didn't read that book I wanted to. Literally everything in the last probably 8 years was completely Zachary focused. So I lost myself in all of this as well. She's gone. From what she was 10 years ago to now, I'm not the same person. I can't tell you what I like or don't like anymore because everything literally is Zachary focused. And I'm his mom. I love him with my whole soul, and I will do anything for him. But I also need to start looking at myself and trying to find myself again.